I was curious about this when you had the post-fight and, where Khabib goes into the audience. The camera angle, all of a sudden, there was morality here with with the UFC where they went way, way high above instead of covering it like it's an event. Because remember when Galata hit Riddick Bowe?
Yes.
Jim Lampley did play-by-play of the fight, the melee in the ring. That's what I was surprised at. It felt like, wait a minute, this is in front of you. And they had an overhead shot where they weren't focusing on what was happening, this spectacle. Why?
This is why I love you so much. You are so smart. You get it. Other people don't. Do you know why, Dan? Because that's state-run TV. The UFC is producing that. That's pro wrestling. They don't want you to see behind the curtain, and I couldn't agree more with you. I rewatched that Bogalata fight last night, and in particular the coverage, and I thought Lampley was phenomenal in all of that and just being absolutely honest. My problem with the UFC and their coverage on television as far as the events for years has been it's dishonest. A year ago, I made this huge stink about a guy named Aljamain Sterling who was brutally knocked out. They never showed him on the mat. It took him 10 minutes to get up. They never gave us an update afterwards. They never told us how he was doing. They never told us that he was discharged. And that's, a small example. But it's because it's dishonest. They want you to see what they want you to see, just like Vince McMahon wants you to see what he wants you to see. So in that moment, this isn't Mike Breen doing play-by-play of Ron Artest running into the crowd, which is what you should do. They are going as far wide as possible and telling you as little as possible. And I don't like that. I feel like in 2018, the broadcasters need to start actually covering the events like they would an NFL game, NBA game, etc. But unfortunately, because the UFC controls all the production, I'm not surprised. I'm very happy that someone like you, who's I'll say like a novice MMA fan, notices that, because that's unlike anything else in any other sport. Unfortunately, in our sport, it's still run like pro wrestling.
Yeah, but who's going to be offended by this? I mean, you're watching UFC. Like, this is what you pay for, don't you?
Oh, it's not so much being offended. It's just that they don't want you to see it. So it's the same thing when someone is coming off a year-long suspension for steroids. They won't tell you the real story as to why he was away. They'll just say he was out of action for a year. It's all through rose-colored, same thing. And I hate the comparison to WWE in the sense that, I would get all fired up in April. I was getting fired up when people were saying, like, oh, the Brooklyn incident with the bus was, scripted. Well, that wasn't scripted, and I think you saw on Saturday just how personal this thing was. But the way they present their show and the way they shy away from talking about the truth is to me a very big problem. In 2018, the audience is smart enough, and you saw that on display on Saturday night, because they kept going further back to not show you. And look, everyone has cell phone footage. Everyone saw it eventually. I think it makes them look bad for trying to hide it.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.